Hi there, and welcome to the EFT Craving tapping demo. What we're going to be doing today is demonstrating how EFT tapping can be used to help lower cravings for things. In this particular case, I've got a Hershey's Kiss here that I'm going to be using as the object of our desire for that craving demonstration. If you happen to have some other food that you can get a nice high desire for, you can use that instead of a Hershey's Kiss. The other thing that you'll need is a piece of paper and a pen to be able to write down your SUDS levels and any other notes about the feelings of the craving or any things that you note along the way about how things taste, etc. So the first thing that we're going to do is intensify the craving. We want it to be nice and intense so that we can see a larger change as we do the tapping process, as well as really get that feeling nice and high so that we can see that it changes as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that nice Hershey's Kiss while it's still wrapped up, and I'm going to think about how wonderful that that's going to taste as I just pop that into my mouth and feel it melt into my mouth and spread across my tongue with that nice chocolatey flavor. And I'm going to think about what it would be like to smell it and just really intensify the feeling by thinking about it. I haven't done it yet, and that's part of this process to get that craving intensity nice and high. So you might want to write it down on your piece of paper what that craving intensity is right now, with the SUDS factor of 0 being no craving intensity whatsoever, and 10 being as intense as you can possibly imagine it being. So the next step is to actually go ahead and start unwrapping it, which I'll do right now, just exposing a little corner of it so that I can start to smell the chocolate itself. So I'll go ahead and I'll just smell that chocolate and just really get a good whiff of it so that the intensity of that craving goes nice and high. And I'll just imagine what that's going to taste like when I take a little bite of it. That's getting up there. That's definitely something that I would enjoy eating right now. So go ahead and write down your 0 to 10 SUDS on your piece of paper, and also any words that come to mind as you're thinking about and smelling that chocolate. So now the next thing that we're going to do is actually take a little tiny bite. Now the key here is little tiny because you don't want to have any possibility of satisfying the craving for that chocolate, but you really want to get that flavor of the chocolate itself. So I just nipped off the end of that little Hershey's Kiss there, and I've got that flavor in my mouth now. And I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to look at it as I'm writing down my SUDS level. And this is the initial SUDS level. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a 7, just for me. So the next thing that we do is we go ahead and we continue to look at the chocolate as we go through and do the setup and the tapping. We do that setup by tapping on the karate chop spot as we look at the chocolate and say, even though I crave that chocolate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I crave that chocolate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I crave that yummy, delicious, melt-in-your-mouth chocolate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Then we tap through the points with the reminder phrase, crave that chocolate. So, eyebrow, crave that chocolate. Go ahead and repeat after me. Crave that chocolate. Side of the eye, crave that chocolate. Under the eye, crave that chocolate. Under the nose, crave that chocolate. Under the lower lip or the chin spot, crave that chocolate. Collarbone, crave that chocolate. Under the arm, crave that chocolate. Top of the head, crave that chocolate. Now that we've done one round, we'll go ahead and do another round immediately following that before we check our SUDS rating again. Crave that chocolate. 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 Go ahead and take a deep breath and release. Now go ahead and look at that chocolate and think about eating it and think about what it would taste like. As a matter of fact, go ahead and just pick it up and smell it. See how high you can get your intensity of craving right now. For me, that's dropped from a 7 to about a 4. So I'll go ahead and write down a 4 again for my second round. It may be something very different for you. But the next thing that we do is we go ahead and we think about the chocolate and smell it, and we do another round of tapping. And again, we'll tap on the karate chop spot. But this time we'll add into the reminder phrase, this remaining. So even though I have some of this remaining chocolate craving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I still have some of this remaining chocolate craving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Even though I still have some of this remaining chocolate craving, and I think about how wonderful and delicious that chocolate would be as it melts in my mouth, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. Tapping through the points. This remaining chocolate craving. 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 And a second round. This remaining chocolate craving. 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 Go ahead and take a deep breath and release. Okay, so again, it's time to go and check in on the craving intensity, and go ahead and smell it. Get a really good whiff of it. Take a little tiny bite. Again, to get the flavor in your mouth, and see how intense you can get that craving. At this point for me, for that Hershey's Kish, it's about a 2. I'm going to go ahead and write that down, and we're going to go ahead and do one more round of tapping. So, even though I still have some of this remaining chocolate craving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I still have some of this remaining chocolate craving, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I still have some of this remaining craving for that yummy, delicious chocolate, I deeply and completely love and accept myself anyway. This remaining chocolate craving. 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 Take a deep breath and release. Now at this point, as I pick this up and I smell it, and I take a bite of it, I have absolutely no desire personally to eat the rest of that chocolate. So in this case, I would give it a suds rating of 0. And I would actually also note that for me personally, it doesn't have much of a flavor anymore. It certainly has no pull or no draw to it. And in some ways, it just tastes a little bit on the chemical-y side by comparison to what I remember it being when I first tasted it and when I first smelled it. So that's what the craving demo looks like. You can often use the craving demo procedure with many other things. It could be potato chips or some other food that you really enjoy, but remember to be very specific. I chose chocolate because it's a single thing. It's not like ice cream where there are many different ice cream flavors. Now if you wanted to choose butter brickle ice cream from one particular vendor, for example, that would be something that you could go ahead and try doing the craving demo on. But the key here is to be very specific. I wouldn't do it for sugar, I wouldn't do it for sweets, I wouldn't do it for pastries or cookies, because each of those is very generic and you want to be very specific. Now you might do it for chocolate chip cookies, and then Oreo cookies, and then peanut butter cookies, and then snickerdoodles. Each of those would be very different. And if you did multiple craving tappings like this on each of those cookies, by the time you got to the snickerdoodles, you may find that there's not much of a craving to begin with. But remember, each of those is a completely different flavor and smell and even texture. So the experience would be different, and that's why you want to treat them individually. So that's the craving demo. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next video.